Welcome back, everybody, and in today's video we're going to be going over another episode of Chess Basics. This time is going to be a little bit more in depth though. So let's get started. Chess Basics. How every piece moves and the rules. Let's go. Board setup. Critical. First thing. Let's just go to this big beautiful chessboard right here. Big beautiful chessboard. Now I was just playing a chess game, so that's why this little blue thing is up there. And of course I won it. My opponent just blundered his knight. Lastly, really bad, horrible, awful player. So, we have the chessboard. Obviously, it's 8x8. 8x8 board. Let's go back to our big beautiful slideshow so we can really hit these key points. The pieces start on the ranks 1 and 2. And let's make this very clear. Rank 1, 2, 3, all the way up to bang, 8 at the top. Now we're obviously going to be referencing all these things from the white position here. Let's keep going. Back rank, black, obviously. Left to right. So, got our back rank. Very, very nice. Next, pawns, obviously on the board. I feel like this is all self-explanatory, so I really just want to get through this really quick. So here are the pawns, very nice. We've got a nice big row of pawns, very cool. You're going to see this on every board. Pawns on the 2nd and the 7th rank. Very simple, should be super easy. Now some things I kind of get wrong. Make sure you remember this, because this even I get this wrong. When I'm setting up the board in person, I have to remember. The white queen is going to be on the light squared piece here. So you see how, let's switch this back. I'm using a sort of demo board here. So, white queen, white square. Very easy. Black queen, black square. So when you're setting up a board in person, that's really what you should look for. When you should look for the knights should always be on the B column or the G column. So one column from the edge on both sides. Obviously the bishops are going to be inside and rooks are going to be on the edge. That's all you really need to know. Let's go to the next slide here. King. Very easy. And some of the best chess games I've ever seen are done by people attacking with their king. Very common in endgames. You should know this in case, well, this doesn't happen if you're a new player, but you got to know this if you are a new player regardless, because this is quite rare, but you have to know this. The king. Let's put him right here. The king, and by the way, I can move pieces however I want just because this is an instructional board, so very easy. King, one square in any direction. So it can go there, you can go there, just one square, as you can see, all around. Very simple. Now obviously if the pawns are really going to be attacking these squares, which they all are, these black pawns, the king cannot move there. Let's go to the next piece here. Reset the position. Queen. This one's a fun one. This is a really good piece. Most valuable on the chessboard besides the king, obviously. Queen can move. Look at that. We got diagonals. It can move in any diagonal direction. Obviously, it can't overlap pieces. It cannot hop over pieces. The only piece that can, we'll get to this, but just assume that any piece that is not the knight lacks the ability to hop over pieces. So, the queen is stuck to these squares as shown on the screen. We got this. Remember, diagonals, and then up and to the side. Well, really in all 4 of these directions. In all 8 if you total the diagonals. So 8 directions. All diagonals and all squares. Up, down, left, and right. It can do a lot. It's awesome. We love the queen. It's a great piece. Let's go to the next slide. The rook. I don't love rooks that much. I try to trade them off when I can. They're not that fun to play with. So if I'm equal pieces or up a pawn, my rook's gonna go. Gone. Bye-bye rook. So, let's reset the board. Now let's move these big beautiful pawns out of the way here. We can see that if we move these pawns out of the way, just for instructional purposes, you can never really do that. These rooks can take up columns. But if I were to move this to the third rank, it could also move to this side. And obviously, if it can move up, it can move down. So very simple, really simple, probably the simplest piece here. Just to the side, up and down. That's it. Next piece. Let's keep going. Bishop. So just like the rook, you see how it's moving in these directions, up to the side and down and obviously left. We have these big, beautiful bishops. This bishop moves in all diagonal pieces. Diagonal. That's it. That's all it can do. No jumping over. That's it. Diagonal pieces. Now, obviously, when you're setting up a chessboard, you have two bishops. Whoops. You have two bishops on either square. One bishop on either square, technically. White bishop, black squared bishop, more precisely. So you really got to know which bishop you want to sacrifice. This is for the advanced guys. You really want to know which bishop you want to sacrifice. And for example, if somebody has all their pieces on these black squares, I'm going to want to keep my black squared bishop. But if I'm playing a game and I know this bishop, this white squared bishop, let's say for example, is doing nothing, it's got to go. It's got to go. Let's keep going. This one's a fun one. The knight. The knight moves in a classic L shape in any direction. Right? Very simple. So an L shape. So that can mean up and there, and then to the side, and then it can go here, 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 here. Really just bang, bang, bang. I love demonstrating with this mouse, it's great. Okay. Very simple. Those are the directions it can move. And just L shapes, just little L shapes to anywhere. Very simple. 1, 2, 3, 4. And obviously, this can classically hop over any square. Now, obviously, you never do this in a move because this would be a horrible chess move, but let's just say, for example, you see these pawns in the way? This knight, it can jump over those pawns. Boom! Jumped over them. Super cool. Amazing piece. I love playing with the knights because you can do so much. I don't like trading them off. Next piece. This one's crazy because it gets complicated. Now, firstly, let's start with moving forward. So the pawn can move in 4 ways. 4. And let's go over the first one, moving forward. So the pawn at the start can actually move 2 squares if you want it to, but it can only do that once. Because after the initial pawn move, this is the initial pawn move on this big beautiful rank. So if it's not on this big beautiful rank, let's say it's here and not here, it has to move it can only move 1 square. Now if you have this pawn right here, you have 2 options. Now, let's for demonstration purposes, you see how there's no piece here? This square is empty. There's no option to do anything with this piece, right? No option, because there's not a piece there. But if you have a piece there, the pawn actually has the ability to take that piece. You see? So take and take. Classic move. That's how pawns work. That was the second way. So it can move diagonally if a piece is impeding in its direction. Now, this is really cool. Let's do this. So I'm going to set up the board, and I'm going to show you exactly what en passant is. Very cool move. So we go like that, and we go like that. And we go here. So, let's say in a game, you're playing an opening, something weird like this happens. You know it's happened, rare, but it happens, so it's good to know. Whoops. So let's go here, and let's go here. Now, if the opponent moves the pawn here, you actually can take with that piece. Now let me reset the board and really show this, because I feel like I'm not showing it perfectly with the way this annoying system is being right now. That's okay though, happens. So we go here, push it one more square. That's really weird, I don't know what's going on. Okay, but basically, this is really annoying. So let's say this happens. Now it's not showing it in the screen, but I've played a million chess games. As you can see, I won a game just a minute ago over there, so I know what I'm talking about. The pawn in a real game would be able to take this square, and when you move to this square with your pawn, this pawn right here actually goes away. This is called en passant. Really cool pawn move, really cool. I like it, huge fan of it. But it's quite rare to use it, so if you use it, cool. Definitely use it when you can. It's probably the best move in most scenarios. Now, let's clear the board here. I like doing this. This is kind of cool. So, we get a nice, big, beautiful pawn move. And it's not showing it again on the software, but let me just be clear here. When you move your pawn, you're going to have the option to promote to either of these pieces. Now, in 99.9% of scenarios, promote to the queen. So the pawn, when you push up the pawn, when you push it up, bang, 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 up the board, it has the option to promote to one of these pieces. So that's why you push your pawns. That's why there's an incentive to. If you don't have a good move to make, push the pawns up the board. Remember that. Next piece. So we're done with pieces. So let's go into these tactics. So we have castling. Castling, please do this whenever you can, because this is very important. Let's go and reset the board here. So let's say, so in this position, if you see your pieces like this and you haven't moved your rook, you have to have not moved these pieces before for this tactic to work. So this has to be still, this has to be still the whole game. But if you get here, which is really common, this should happen almost every game, you have the option to move your king over here and move the rook and switch places with it. This is called castling, and this is so you can hide the knight more, get the knight, excuse me, you can hide the king more, get the king out of the way, and connect these big, beautiful rooks to protect each other. Very common. You can do this on both sides, by the way. I would always recommend doing it when you can. Just make sure you pay attention to what side to castle, because some sides, it can get a little bit dangerous. Sometimes if you castle to the wrong side, if your opponent's semi-decent, he might sacrifice a piece and then get a really open position, you know, rip open these pawns, for example. Let's say you go here, let's say the opponent goes here. He could sack the bishop, take, and then all of a sudden, let's say he goes here, you know, the whole thing's open, you're in check, you gotta move, and then all of a sudden, white takes that pawn, and this is just really bad news after something like knight to f3. And really bad news. I mean, really, you just don't want to be in this position. And yeah. Very simple. So just be careful. Be careful of tricks that somebody could pull off whenever you're castling, because there's always tricks that your opponent might try to do if they're good at the game. So yeah, that's castling. Good tactic. Now, check and checkmate. The first one's check. Check. What does that mean? Well, let's look at this big, beautiful slide. So checking is when your king is attacked. Your king is being under attack. If your king is being attacked by a piece, let's say we throw this pawn over here, throw the queen there. And please understand this is just a demo board, so anything that you see here would not be possible in a game. Your king, excuse me, would be under check. So you would have to either block it, or if you didn't have this, you would have to move the king to the side. If your king's in check, that is the only move you can do, is you either have to block or you have to move. Now let's say a knight is checking the king, for example. Let's say you put the queen back here, and the knight is checking the king. If your knight is checking the king, you have to move the king, no matter what. And if your king has nowhere to go, this is pretty fancy, by the way, but it's called a smothered checkmate. If you get one, that's sick. Cool. So you gotta move your king if it's being attacked by the knight. That's all you gotta really know regarding checks. Pretty simple. Let's go to checkmates. I'm sure most of you know what that is, by the way. This should be really simple. So, if your king is being attacked such that you have no pieces to go to, like in this situation, where can the king go? The king can't take. Why can't the king take? Because, okay, well, I didn't mean to do that. That would not be possible, by the way. Your king can only move one square in either direction. But this would be checkmate, because this... I gotta stop moving the mouse. Hold on. Okay. So, I keep making mistakes with the software. This is kind of making me laugh, I'm not gonna lie. But this would just be checkmate. You can't take this queen. You can't, because this knight is hitting the queen. So you couldn't take the queen. And because of the way the queen moves, you know, it covers all these pieces, and it also covers diagonals, which means it is hitting this. Now my other queen can't attack. It can't kill this thing. Same with the knight. It can't kill it. I'm trying to make these arrows work. There we go. This knight can't stop anything. It's dead. This is checkmate, and black would lose the game. That's how you win chess in the coolest fashion. You can win on time, which is called flagging people, but this is how you win chess in the coolest fashion. Cool. Let's keep going. Ooh, draws. So we got a lot of draws here. So I really don't want to go over this for new players, because new players, if you're new, go for the win. You don't have anything to lose. Go for the win, dude. So we're gonna go over this really quickly, just because I really, really, really want you to go for things that are cool and really learn. So our first draw, we have a stalemate. So a stalemate, I might need to show this one just because this is a little bit tricky. So a stalemate, let's clear the board, for example. Come on, reset. Okay. So we have kings on the board, and we have, let's say we have a knight on the black side and a knight on the white side. So let's say the king is over here. Let's say we got this, and let's say it's over here. And let's say black has a queen here. Whoops. Now, this position, as you can see with this eval bar, you know, let's say my king was here. My queen, excuse me. The queen, the right move would be here, but let's say I maybe make a mouse slip, and I move to the C2 square, right here. Now, obviously, I have so much material on them. So why is this eval bar half and half, even? Why is it half and half? Because this is a draw. It's a stalemate. It's a stalemate. Okay, I don't know why it's doing that, but it's a stalemate because this king cannot go to any squares. You see this pawn and this king are both interfering, and white has no legal moves. The pawn can't be pushed. Why can't the pawn be pushed? Because there's this thing right in the middle. That's where that is. So this pawn right here is blocking that pawn push. Can't move the pawn. The king is being blocked in all squares. Can't move the king. And even though there's a material indifference, because white cannot move, it would be a stalemate. Let's keep going. Same slide, I forgot. So, you know, we have repetition, so if you repeat a move 3 times with somebody, let's say I go queen to 1 square, queen back, queen to 1 square, queen back, and you guys both do that, it would be called a 3-fold repetition. 3-fold repetition, draw. I don't recommend doing that. 50 move rule. This can happen if it's just a dead drawn position. This is really advanced chess, by the way. I've never even had this, so I would really just not watch this video and look up what that is, because that's pretty advanced. But I'll give you the textbook definition here. So 50 move draw would be pass pawn with no move or capture. So insufficient material, this would be if you have a knight and a king, a bishop and a king, basically a material composition in which no player can get a checkmate. That would be insufficient material. Most common one's probably 2 kings. So mutual agreement is when both of you guys shake hands. And you're just like, yeah, pretty simple, pretty self-explanatory. Now these are just fun rules. Really, if you're curious, if you like the game, I don't really care if you know this though. So we got a touch move. So in a real game, if you touch a piece, you gotta move it. An illegal move is a move you must take back. And there might be a time penalty, most commonly, or depending on the arbiter of your game, you'll just explain what happened and follow what they say. Obviously that can't happen. No illegal moves are really allowed here with the online play. Clock. Each player obviously has a timer, and you're incentivized to not move slow. So each player obviously must complete moves within their time. If they do, and your opponent does not, that's called flagging. Again, even if your opponent has more material but they run out of time, guess who's losing? Your opponent. So play quick. Great. So it was very simple, really simple. I think you guys are ready to play. Definitely try to win games. I would really try to win games. Don't go for draws. That's just so boring. Don't go for draws. I would recommend also keeping your knights and getting rid of the bishops and always looking for forks, because it's really easy. Let's explain what a fork is real quick, because this is just off script sort of. I just want you guys to understand what a fork is. So let's say we got our king here and our queen here. Now if we got a knight here, you see this is cool, because this is why you keep your knights alive. This is sort of off script. I just want you guys to know this. You're attacking these 2 pieces at the same time. Always keep your knights, because you can sort of look to hop to squares where this would be possible. And obviously, you can't take with this queen. So you gotta move this, because it's the forced move. And, uh-oh, there goes the queen. Bye-bye. So, those are all the chess basics. Thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.